74,000 years ago, a volcano erupted from what is now Lake Toba on the island of Sumatra. It was one of the largest eruptions in the last 2 million years, and 5,000 times more massive than the Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980. The volcanic debris arose high in the atmosphere and blotted out the sun and skies for the next 6 to 10 years, causing the average global temperature to plummet for the next 1,000 years. During nighttime, the sky would have glowed red, and during the daytime, the sun's rays of light would have been reduced by 25 to 90%, preventing flowers from blooming and causing trees to die during the winter. In the 1990s, scientists began to closely study the genetic history of early humans on vast timescales. During their studies, they found several genetic bottlenecks, which is a term that refers to a period in time when the population of an organism becomes greatly reduced. The generations of early humans that came after these periods of population reduction only carry genes from the period when the population was reduced, and thus the genetic diversity of future generations are greatly decreased. For example, scientists found that at around 1.2 million years ago, there may have only been 26,000 early humans. And at some point around 100,000 to 50,000 years ago, genetic evidence strongly suggests that there may have only been 3,000 to 1,000 humans. To explain what caused the genetic bottleneck, which took place between 100,000 to 50,000 years ago, numerous scientists in the 1990s proposed that the Toba eruption could have reduced the global early human population to only a few thousand individuals. This theory held firm sway until a series of recent archaeological discoveries gave glimpses into what humans were doing before, during, and after the eruption, strongly suggesting that the event may not have been nearly as damaging to humanity as was originally thought. Along the southern coast of South Africa, there is evidence of heavy human activity between 74,000 and 60,000 years ago, despite the devastating nature of the Toba eruption which occurred during this time. The most important of the South Africa sites in relation to the Toba eruption are the Vleesbaai and Pinnacle Point sites. Vleesbaai is an open-air site where prehistoric peoples sat together and crafted tools out of bone, stone, and wood, and the Pinnacle Point site is a rock shelter where people lived, cooked food, and slept. Both sites bear evidence of ash from fires, bones and seeds from food, and stone tools and weapons. The archaeologists, upon discovering the sites, knew that due to their age, there could be a possibility of finding glass shards from the Toba eruption, and so went about searching for them. These glass shards, called cryptotephra, have a distinct hook shape to them and are ejected out of a volcano alongside other volcanic debris such as rock and gas, and spread all over the world. Greek archaeologist Panagiotis Karkanas began examining with a microscope a small bit of archaeological sediment enclosed within resin from one of the South Africa sites, and found a single glass shard from the Toba eruption, despite it being alongside millions of other mineral particles. Eventually, 2 glass shards were found, one within the Pinnacle Point rock shelter, and the other at the Vleesbaai site. Scientists then extracted the chemical signatures of the glass shards and confirmed their relation to materials from the Toba eruption site. Though the eruption occurred beyond the range of accuracy that carbon-14 dating could provide, the window of time during which the glass shards rained down upon the surface was only about 2 weeks long. Such a narrow window of time allowed the scientists to use other methods to pinpoint the date of the glass shards. The scientists chose to use the optically stimulated luminescence method to date the glass shards, which is a method that calculates the last time grains of sand and quartz were exposed to light. Using this method, upon grains of sand and quartz found alongside and above and below the glass shards, the scientists were able to date the glass shards to between 90,000 to 50,000 years ago. The layer of sediment containing the glass shards produced a date of 74,000 years ago, which matched the firmly established 74,000 years ago date of the approximate time of the Toba eruption. The 74,000 years ago date for the eruption was produced by volcanologists using a radioisotope technique called argon-argon dating. The scientists were then finally able to confirm that humans occupied the region continuously throughout the eruption. Not only that, but the researchers were now able to paint a picture of what the peoples of southern Africa were doing before, during, and after the volcanic eruption by analyzing the evidence of human activity found alongside the glass shards. The researchers used an archaeological tool called a total station on the two sites, which is a handheld device that uses lasers to measure a location very precisely down to the scale of millimeters. Each time a sample of sediment was dug out from its position from the two sites, it was measured with the total station. Precise models were constructed of the sites, spanning centuries, and it was found that during and after the time of the Toba eruption, the inhabitants lived at the site the whole time, and there was no indication that the eruption had affected their lives in any way. In fact, the various debris and artifacts from the hunter-gatherer society living in the area increased after the eruption event. According to archaeologists, to be able to paint such a precise picture of what humans were up to 74,000 years ago to a level of detail spanning a 2-week time frame is incredibly rare and remarkable, as typically archaeologists are only able to talk about the peoples of the distant prehistoric past within time frames spanning hundreds to thousands of years. Many call this illumination of the prehistoric past to be the holy grail of geochronology. Theories of genetic bottlenecks being caused by the Toba eruption are purely based on genetic data and have yet to be backed by any physical evidence such as fossils or artifacts. In contrast, the southern Africa sites are backed by physical evidence and show what humans were doing during and after the eruption. In particular, the physical evidence shows that the peoples of the coastal areas of South Africa thrived during and after the time of the Toba eruption. Scientists think that this is due in large part to shellfish and fish making up a large portion of the people's diet, which is wildlife that was likely little affected by the eruption. The researchers acknowledge that the coastal peoples of South Africa may have been an outlier, and it is possible that everyone else on the planet suffered. But at the same time, there is plenty of other evidence to strongly suggest that the planet was not that severely affected, as there is mounting evidence that animal and plant populations remain mostly stable, and additionally, Neanderthal populations in Europe remain stable as well. Scientists have studied the remnants of plant life from the time of the eruption, located in sediments at the bottom of Lake Malawi in East Africa, and have found that the Toba eruption did not really hurt plants at all in the region, except for those located at high altitudes. Global temperatures in the wake of the Toba eruption have been studied, and it was concluded that they would have dropped around 6.3 degrees Fahrenheit. However, it was found that they returned to normal 5 years after the eruption. Most astoundingly of all is that after the eruption, Homo floresiensis survived for at least another 20,000 years on the island of Flores, which is only a mere 1,600 miles away from the location of the Toba eruption on the island of Sumatra. Despite the Indian subcontinent having been directly in the path of the ash cloud from the Toba eruption, which would have blanketed much of the region in soot, archaeological evidence strongly points to the people of the Jeriru Valley thriving before and after the eruption. It has been argued that the people of the Jeriru Valley were able to survive, as their water source came from an underground spring and was therefore not contaminated by the rain of ash from the eruption. However, other researchers draw attention to evidence that suggests that the peoples of the Middle Sun Valley site in the north of India saw a substantial drop in their population after the eruption. Nevertheless, at a site called Toba in central India, within the Middle Sun River Valley, evidence has been unearthed revealing that humans continuously inhabited the site for the last 80,000 years. The stone tools found at the site span 80,000 years and did not change either before, during, or after the eruption, which suggests that the culture was largely unaffected by the eruption. The tools found at the site are also like those found in Africa and Australia, which shows that humans were moving around the planet rapidly despite the harsh conditions wrought by the eruption. There is disagreement among scientists over what human species created the stone tools. Some say they bear a strong similarity to those found alongside Homo sapien fossils found in southern Africa, while others say that it is impossible to attribute certain stone tools to any particular human species. If the stone tools in India were created by Homo sapiens, then it would push back the date of Homo sapiens' settlement of the continent significantly. Despite the Toba eruption genetic bottleneck theory now being seen as largely refuted, there is still an undeniable genetic bottleneck in the genetic history of early humans 74,000 years ago. However, now researchers are saying that this may have been caused by the rapid spread of early humans and Homo sapiens across Eurasia. As early humans spread across Eurasia, they would have split off into small groups once they stumbled upon each newly found region. These small groups would then have settled each of the regions. Each settler group would have had a small amount of genetic diversity relative to the original larger group of migrants that they came from. In contrast, though, the genetic diversity of early humans in Africa would have remained high. Nevertheless, scientists hope to find more sites with glass shards from the Toba eruption in areas far from the coasts, especially within Africa. It is in areas like these that they expect to find evidence of human populations that were more negatively affected by the eruption. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed my documentary, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/World Chronicles.